Welcome everybody. My name is Jackie Clommer and I'm with a group called Partners Worldwide. Many of you are very familiar with us already, but it's great to see new faces as well. And I just want to welcome you to our new session today. We're on webinar 3 of a series for leadership and business resiliency, especially in times of COVID. So I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen so you can see where we are. So today our theme is equipping remote teams, pursuing outputs, freedom, and trust. And I'll introduce our guests shortly. But for background about the Resiliency Series, the purpose of the webinar series is to really equip small business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders seeking to build resiliency in response to the impacts of COVID-19 in Southeast Asia and beyond. So as we all know right now, there are so many unpredictable situations, shifts in markets, and day-by-day adjustments that we're needing to make to this new normal. And Ranco will be sharing more about how we can be adjusting, especially in managing and equipping remote teams as we work long distance in this period of time. Let me go through the housekeeping briefly. So as we've said in weeks prior, the cameras are preferably on. So if your bandwidth allows you to use your camera, that would be great. We will actually have quite a bit more interaction today in small groups. So just a forewarning. And then the tools that you'll also need, if you can find in your office or desk, wherever you're seating right now, just find a paper or pen, because we'll have to do a little drawing shortly. However, if you do have any concerns about keeping your video on, you're welcome to turn it off. And for example, if you need to remain confidential, you can change your name just to first name or nickname. That's no problem at all. And then I also want to point out on the chat box, you can find it on the right-hand side. We will be inserting the Slido, the same app as before. It'll take you to this very simple website. You can be asking questions throughout this session, and then we'll have a question and response time a little bit later, above and beyond the interactive question and answer time we'll have on some key points that Ranco will be walking us through. So you're welcome to insert those questions, and the other thing about Slido is that you can endorse or promote questions that are very similar to what you wanted to ask anyway, and those will then help vote it to the top so that we can make sure they get included later in the discussion during our question and response time. So the agenda for today, obviously we're on the opening right now. I will keep it to 5 minutes or less. Then we'll have an icebreaker, small group breakout time for 15 minutes, and Ranco will instruct us on that. Then we'll really be digging into the topic. What are the essential factors that we need to equip remote teams? And then Ranco will also share his insights and help us reflect on some of those questions we need to ask ourselves. How do we do this type of work better during this period under crisis? And then we'll have the question and response time. And then something new I want to add is that we'll have a backstage time. It sounds like we're at a rock music concert or something. Our backstage time will be at the end. So we'll keep the formal section to 60 minutes and then allow a minute or two for people to depart if you have another commitment you need to head off to. But we will have an optional informal time for an additional 15 minutes. And we are really eager to get some feedback from each of you as to how this webinar series has been going so far. And it's also just a time to connect and kind of chat with each other. So mutually beneficial, I'm hoping, gathering your feedback and what you're looking for regarding future sessions, but then vice versa as well, just getting to know you better. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest. I think entering a topic like this, there are some really critical questions that we're asking ourselves right now. And I have teammates on this call, so I don't want them to be scared when I ask these questions. I'm not thinking about this every day. But there's a funny question you could be asking yourselves. Do you wonder what your teammates are really doing at home? Has that crossed your mind at all in the last few weeks? Or do you wonder if you're leading other people well during quarantine or during this time of lockdown? Have you been trying to communicate in the traditional ways or in new ways, or trying to achieve goals together and stay aligned as you work remotely? Or are you really trying to connect with customers to stay relevant? That was one of the most important questions we asked in our marketing series, our marketing topic last week. Will my business be relevant during quarantine and after this COVID crisis de-escalates a bit? And then lastly, how do I better equip, trust, and empower my team to get through this challenge more strong and resilient than ever before? So Ranco is actually here to help us answer those questions ourselves. Ranco Kraaijenbrink is a consultant with a strong passion to accelerate business leaders to transform their businesses into a digital age. Through Ekipa within Indonesia, he offers agile transformation leadership consulting and training to develop high-impact businesses within Indonesia, create cultures of innovation and strategy, and identify the vital drivers of the business, executing goals on a consistent and sustainable business. For more than 10 years, he worked in the Netherlands and took on many different commercial assignments for multinational companies, including Loris Retail with 800 supermarkets, DHL Logistics, and Staples Office Supplies. Change management also included achieving new processes, tools, and strategies for companies in transition, and thereby increasing profits through the multiplier effect in sales, cost reduction, and growth in market share. Ranco also holds an MBA in strategic marketing from NCOI Business School, as well as a bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship from the University of Professional Education in Utrecht, Netherlands. So Ranco, welcome to the session. We would love for you to take the lead and walk us through the icebreaker and beyond.
Thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to join you guys.
You're welcome.
Let me start sharing the screen for our first exercise, because I thought it's good to have a little bit interaction. So I hope we can have a conversation instead of that I'm only sharing what I know. And so the next slide will reveal our first exercise. So what I ask you to do is take a few minutes to draw a quick picture of what you are doing after this quarantine, when the quarantine ends. And then we will go out in breakout groups and share in our small groups what the drawing is. And please state your name, your company or organization, where you're based, and clarify a little bit about your picture. And then within 8 minutes, we will get back and do a short picture with all of us, but also we'll share a little bit about our own pictures. So, Jimmy, maybe we can start going into the small groups and people can start drawing a small picture. It can be really simple, just something that really comes to mind that you want to do after the quarantine is ended, because we're all in there. Go ahead. Okay, so any volunteer that really likes to show their picture and briefly introduce yourself to the group, just to give us an idea on who you are. Let's say 5 people max, and then we continue with our presentation. Anyone?
I'll be the first one. Can you see my drawing?
All right.
Yeah, my name is Ranco. I'm from World Vision from Manavisi, Indonesia, based in Jakarta.
Okay.
Yes, I'm in charge of the corporate partnership. So building up a pipeline for in-country fundraising. So that's what I do for a living. So right now, because of the COVID, because of the quarantine, I would love to do a face-to-face meeting again with my clients, with my corporate donors, just make sure they can support our programs. So that will be my intention to do so once everything is over. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Who likes to go next? Any other volunteer?
I'll go. I put my shoes, my exercise shoes / hiking boots.
Okay.
So I'm really interested in getting back out into nature, because we've been on quarantine, I think, longer than Wuhan here in Metro Manila. So I think I appreciate the outdoors all the more now that I've been inside for so long. So just really looking forward to doing that and doing it with other people as well.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Jackie. Who else? Do we have more brave people, or should I do a cold calling like Kevin?
Hi, my name is Spencer. This is my picture. I certainly hope that the lockdown will be able to open up for Singapore to fly to Perth, because I'm expecting to see my 4th grandchild who is due to join this world end of July.
Wow. Thank you, Spencer. Thank you, Spencer. Last but not least, who is up to show his beautiful picture? Anyone? Yeah, Kevin, I think I want to see your picture. I know you have a beautiful one. Let's see. What is it?
It's stick figures, and it's the same as what Dino did. It's just being able to get with together with people one-on-ones, right?
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Okay, let me continue. Thank you. Oh, well, let's take a picture. So please turn on your video and show your picture. And then Jimmy, are you able to take a screenshot or anything that helps us? So you can block your face, but you can also with your face, whatever you like to show.
All right.
And,
in 3, 1, 2.
all right. Thank you. Oh, one more? Oh, we have people coming up. We do one more time?
Okay, let's do it one more time. One more time. Everybody ready with your picture? Okay, in the count of 3, 1, 2.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, let me continue sharing the screen. Thank you so much for this small interaction, and I hope you enjoyed it and get to know at least some new people in the group. And let me start sharing the screen. All right, here we go. Everybody can see the screen?
Yeah.
All right.
Can see it now.
Everybody is able to see the screen. Then I will move on to the right side, I hope. Here we go. So, all right. The first question that I really want to ask you, and put something, let's see if the chat is working. What do you think are the essential factors needed to build a high-performing team? That's what we really want to know, working from home. And like Jacqueline said, I think a lot of us sometimes struggle to not to start assuming what other team members are doing, or maybe what our clients are thinking. So what is something that you guys feel like is the most essential factor that we need to build high-performing teams while we work from home? So put it in the chat. I really love to have your input on that part. Let's see if the chat is working. Maybe Jimmy, you can shout out some of the stuff that is going. Oh, communication, clear output, really nice. So let me follow up. Yeah, good one. Trust. Yeah, okay. Good workstation set. Yeah, that's a good one. Infrastructure, communication. Thank you guys, really good. So the one thing that is critical and most essential based on my personal understanding, and to give you a little bit setting the stage before I start my talk, is trust. Trust is one of the most critical things that we need if we work with remote teams. And let me explain it a little bit more. So one thing that we know from the history, Taylor developed the scientific management principles, right? So based on his efficiency way of thinking, task, setting up more layers so people can just work accordingly. So people get tasks, there's command and control. And that's something that we still, up until today, still seeing happening, not only in our business, but also in education and in organizations, non-profit or profit organizations. We still are having the same setup that Frederick Taylor back then in 1919 if I'm not mistaken, developed. And it's really interesting that we're still using these principles in this time of age. So we still have old ways of doing and we try to solve our current 21st century problems. Although we have more knowledge workers, right? We have people that are really able to think by themselves. So one thing that really is interesting, by the way we organize ourselves, command and control, we stop people to think. We stop their creativity and we stop innovation or experimentation, because people just work according to the task or the job desk that we give them. And some things that when I just started in working in Ekipa, what really struck me connecting with people that are really in agile is that the culture in Indonesia, for example, is really agile. People are going from home to work and they every day have to think about how they get there. What is the best way? What is the best transportation or the best road? But as soon as they enter the building, they leave out all their agility and they go into the mode of following command and control orders from their bosses. Not that they are not willing to think, but that is the current state of mind. That's the way we organize ourselves. That is the culture in most of the companies that we work with. And maybe it's in your company the same way. But we stop creativity. We stop innovative and experiential thinking. And that's something we really need. And one of the illustrations that I really like is this one. So we like to have control. And that's the representation of an intersection where we have the traffic lights, or we have people that are making sure that police people that are taking care of the traffic. While the trust, the roundabout, is representing the trust, where people take ownership. And I think that is one of the most critical things. They take ownership, they take turns, and it's all in a flow. It's organized by people by themselves. Because all of us, we are blessed with a nice set of brains, whether we love to work with our hands or more behind the desk. We all can think and we can all make decisions. But based on the Taylor methodology, the industrialization of the way we work, we thought that it's better that we have some clever people that think for you, instead that we allow people to make their own decisions. So why trust benefits business? So it's less than, so it reduced your turnover, 50% based on research, and 3 times more sales, and it increased customer satisfaction. Why? People love to stay in places where they're empowered to make their own decisions, where they're empowered to make their own priorities and organize themselves. And more sales because people are more engaged. They take ownership. They are more engaged with the client than if we give them a task. And if the task is only ended somewhere, they will not go above or beyond. And I think that's a really critical thing. I spoke to someone and she gave me an example of a customer service employee in a hotel. And she said she was really good in what she did, but she solved most of the time similar problems. So for example, the light in room number X was not working. And every time she fixed that problem for the client, but the root cause was never solved. And then her manager asked, okay, what can we do to solve the root cause? And she said, yeah, there are many things that we can do, but it's not in my job desk. So I just leave it there. I just do whatever is coming to me. I'm the customer service. I will help our clients and our customers, our guests, to have a good time. But I will never go back to the root cause to solve it. So that's really a simple illustration that if we allow people to be more empowered to choose what they work on and how to organize themselves and be creative and innovative in the way they run the business or the part of that we entrust to them, I think that will really keep people into your company or organization. It will for sure give you more sales and a better customer satisfaction. So that's just an introduction on the topic for today. what I like to share based on my personal experience and my personal journey is two things. Personal experience based on 3 strategies that I have for equipping remote teams, pursuing outputs and freedom and trust. And the other thing that I want to transit to a more team level or organization level. One thing that I really believe is if we don't master those 3 strategies that I will explain in a bit, is it's hard to transform them into our teams or to apply them into our teams. Like Stephen Covey is saying, we need to have a public victory first before we can have a public victory. So that's really something that I want to share with you. So bear with me. Unmute if you have any questions. I will state some questions as well. So hopefully we can have a nice short conversation for every different strategy. So the first one is keep moving out of your comfort zone. When I left my comfort zone, the Netherlands, my corporate job in 2013, that was a big leap of faith. Of course, we trust God, but it was really out of my comfort zones. Although my heart was there, I was not happy serving in the corporate. I learned a lot, don't get me wrong, but I think it was really my desire to go somewhere else. But so since I was married in 2005, 8 years long, my wife and I, we stayed in our comfort zone. We built our family, we got 2 kids, we bought our house, we had our jobs in the corporate, and we stick to that. Although every year when we visit Indonesia, we were like, what are we doing? Why are we still where we are today? And in 2013, finally we got the boldness to step out of our comfort zone, to stop our work in the corporate, take our 2 kids and 4 suitcases and take the plane to Indonesia, to the unknown. Because all the questions raised, can we have a job or can we start a business? How is healthcare arranged, etc., etc. So moving out of my comfort zone, going into Indonesia in 2013 was my first experience, a big step. The second one was I worked for more than 10 years in the corporate. I was never an entrepreneur. So I thought it's good to start a business, but I didn't have the experience. So that was another leap of faith going into an unknown area. Also, the area that I want to start a business was in training and education. So I started a business in educational equipment for international schools, importing stuff from the UK, providing it for international schools here in Indonesia. I didn't know anything about education. So there was really some new stuff happening there. So beside of moving into a new country, I moved into a new chapter of life, starting my own business in a complete different industry than I was before. But I was really sure that this is something that I could learn. Moving out of my comfort zone doesn't stop me. And then after 2 years, it didn't work out. My business didn't get off. And it was a disappointment, of course, after all the years that I worked on it. But then I said, okay, let's change it. Let's pivot it into a social program for charity. So I started fundraising, and we provided the same equipment for local schools that didn't have the budget like international school, but funded by friends and family. Going out of my comfort zone was big because reaching out for money and asking my friends for this, even a good cause, it was really out of my comfort zone. And then after 4 years living in Bandung, my wife got a job in Salatiga. So Bandung, to give you a picture, is a city with 5 to 8 million people, a really big city. Salatiga is 200,000 people living in this small city. So it feels like you go from a big city to a small town. That was really out of my comfort zone. I had so much comfort already after 4 years. I had my friends, my network. I knew the places, I knew where to go, where to get stuff. And then starting all over again in a small town where I didn't know anyone was really a big step for me. But it learned me something really beneficial. Moving out of my comfort zones, really appreciate what I had and what I have. And brought me closer, first of all, to my wife and to God, but also really helped me to understand that moving out of your comfort zone, keep on moving out of your comfort zone, is a healthy thing to do. Because if we stick for in our comfort zone, we don't develop ourselves, we don't develop our business or anything else. So to give you a little bit more example on how our business, for example, reacted on the COVID-19, our business is training and coaching. 1/3 of our sales is in training, and most of the trainings are in-house or face-to-face related, that we do public training. And since COVID-19, we couldn't conduct any training. Everything was canceled. And within 2 weeks, our team was able to set up an online training session. Even none of us had any experience on that. None of us had any experience on how to conduct an online session and interact with people online through Zoom, but we just did it. We went out of our comfort zone into the unknown digital world, where we normally, it was on our radar, but we didn't push ourselves to get in that part. Another thing is that we had to change our rhythm of meetings. So normally we met once a month, and due to the COVID-19, we start meeting more often because we want to really be more connected with each other and make sure that we are in a good place. So now the question is, how did COVID-19 move you out of your comfort zone, you, your team, or your business? Please unmute and have a short conversation with me. I'm really curious.
Who wants to get out of their comfort zone?
So COVID-19 did not move anyone out of the comfort zone. That's interesting in this group.
I actually have a question for you, Ranco. So I am not a business with Partners Worldwide, who we also went out of our comfort zone to do similar things like you did, putting on stuff like that. But I'm very curious about if there's anyone here in the service industry or food or beverage industry that has literally been forced out of their comfort zone with sales going down. Has anyone needed to really adjust their method of serving consumer needs in a different way? Anyone like to speak up on that, or just your own story as well?
So maybe I can share a little bit one other example that we had to do based on COVID-19, and it was really out of my comfort zone. Is at the beginning of March, we had more assignments than people. So we hired 3 new people, and we had 2 people from our business in India. So we had 2 expats, and in the end of March, everything collapsed. So we had to make the bold decision to stop our probation time with those 3 people, and that was really out of my comfort zone. That was not something that I was signing up for in this role within this company. But it was needed to do to make sure that the people that were with us for a longer term, that we can provide salaries and a sustainable business. All right, let's move on to the next topic. Stay connected, be proactive. So stay connected. So we talked about keep moving out of your comfort zone. The second strategy that I have for you, based on my personal experience as well, is that we need to stay connected and be proactive in this time as well. So as I told you, I started my own business, and some of you will recognize it's quite a lonely journey. And people recognize maybe that you struggle and have a lot of conversation with yourself. But it's really, really essential that if we don't move, if we don't call people or share our thoughts with our friends or advisors or people in our network, they will not know what we struggle with. They don't know that we are maybe having a great time, that we want to celebrate something. So one thing that I really learned in my journey is stay connected, but we need to initiate it. And another thing running the current business is that we have sometimes people in our team that don't speak up, or maybe they don't show up on the regular meetings. they may be more introvert. And staying connecting, and maybe as a leader be proactive to identify them and to put a little bit more love and time with them, initiate a call with them individually, and just find out how the situation is and how you can help them during maybe this time of COVID-19 or other challenges that might be causing that they are maybe less active in the group. Because we are the best human beings to start assuming, right? If we don't connect with our team on a regular basis, then we start assuming, what are they doing? Are they working, or are they watching Netflix? Are they really spending all their hours on something that we gave them to work on, or are they doing something else? And I think staying connected and giving people also the ability to share what the progress is, or what they're working on, or what they plan to work on, or what the challenges are, is really essential with remote teams, to have a regular check-in with each other. And the other thing that we do as Ekipa, for example, with our team, we choose our own tasks, but we don't report to each other, to a boss or something. So we have a simple regular meeting that we just share within the group what is happening. So that helps us to stay connected, but also to create some transparency on the workload that is going on in our team. Might be client work, might be internal projects that we work on. So one thing that I really want to emphasize is be proactive. Don't wait until someone maybe asks you, hey, Ranco, it's been a time that you didn't join our team meetings, or it's been a while that we didn't catch up. What's happening on your side? I think COVID-19 is really a nice opportunity also to reconnect with old clients or existing clients, to just check in with a valid reason on finding out what they're struggling in and how you can help them. Don't wait until they cancel maybe engagement with you and you don't know anything. Start proactively. Start sharing maybe some of your lessons learned over the time that we have COVID-19, that we have to work remotely, that we have our Zoom calls, and everybody has his own experience. So start sharing with clients and with people in your network as well. Supposed to be here a question, but let me ask the question for you guys. So what is the thing? So how do you stay connected during COVID-19? Do you have regular calls? How do you feel about that? So anyone like to unmute and share with me your experience so far?
Hi, Ranco.
Yeah.
Rafi.
Rafi, thank you.
Yes. Here. I have a team. We have an agency. So just to connect, I made myself available online every 3 o'clock MWF, and I invite them to hang out, fix their coffee, talk about anything under the sun or under the roof. And going out of my comfort zone was, previous to that, I would talk to the team leaders. And then when the country closed down, the lockdown, I found myself looking into my desktop is now full of the 201 files of our team. No, yeah, just like connecting with them. How are you during this time? And I found myself connecting with the team, not the team leaders. So I was able to connect with all of them, and with the help of their personal files, you know, the way they talk, the way they listen, the tone, you know, you can see the depression, you can hear the depression, you can hear the excitement. Their personal files helped me, like, hey, I see that I remember that your son is going to have a birthday next week, but actually I'm looking at his files. You know, and how's your mom doing? How's your wife? You speak their names. It kind of, if not warmed our relationship, but it kind of helped them see that someone's there for them.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I got to focus during the ECQ.
Right. Really great example. And I think that's really needed, because we have a lot of functional Zoom meetings, right? Thank you for sharing, Rafi, that you have a coffee chat. That's what we have as well, just to stay human and stay connected. Especially also for example, we have people in our team in Jakarta sitting in an apartment without a family. And I can imagine that can be really tough if you don't have any distraction and you have only your laptop, your work and your apartment, and you can't go anywhere. So it's really a great. Anyone else?
Yeah,
If not, then,
I want to share one thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that really truly helps when you are connecting with more friends, with more colleagues during this pandemic. Because once again, when I used to work only with my small team, very 2 or 3 people, but now ever since we are chasing for the target because of this emergency response coming up with COVID, we have so many new initiatives coming up. There are so many corporate partners helping us. So we create like a WhatsApp group. We create every single thing that we can think of to just communicate and get in touch with them. So by doing so, I also find myself knowing more people in my organization that they are doing so much and they are doing great things for this works. And that really triggers me on how we can always keep them in faith and also in touch. So that's why I always ask them whether they are in depression mode. Are you okay? Are you in fatigue mode? Are you in an okay zone? So those things are really important, essential for them, so that we have to know their condition as well. So I think it's great to be in this situation, knowing more people, getting to know what are their mental being. Are you good? Are you healthy? Are you sick or what? So that's the kind of thing. Thanks, Ranco.
Thank you, Dino. I think something that really interesting what you say is checking in with people. So something that we do as a team as well is before we start our formal meeting, we ask people how they feel. And there are you Google, there are mood boards to help people out to identify their feeling or current state. But that really helps you to set also the meeting and know that maybe Jackie is a little bit off because she just had bad news, or Rafi is really engaged because he's really excited about the topic, or whatever it is. It really helps you, even on a remote base, to identify what is the atmosphere in the room. Because I really see that, for example, having a group online, it has a different dynamic. Because we know communication is 70% is non-verbal, and sometimes we don't switch on, or we can't switch on our camera, so we can hardly read people non-verbal, right? So really a good point there, Dino. Thank you for sharing. And the last point, the last strategy, so we have keep moving out of your comfort zone, stay connected, be proactive in that way, and stay focused. Work with the end in mind, something from Stephen Covey as well, that we need, especially in a pandemic like this, we need to stay focused and have maybe less objectives than before. Maybe we should have only one, max, maybe 3 focus points that we as an organization or as a group of people that we worked on. Because one thing that we learned over the time is that we need clarity on where we're heading, and especially in a time of uncertainty, it's really helpful that the organization sets some clear goals and objectives for the near future. And that can be the next 2 weeks, that can be the next month. Especially in a time of uncertainty, I wouldn't recommend to do it for the next year because we don't know where we are. We thought that we knew it all at the beginning of the year, but I assume that a lot of your plans that we made in January goes down to the bin because we couldn't execute them. So stay focused is really something simple that I learned on personal level, to set some goals for the day, to make sure that I don't procrastinate or get distracted by social media, which is the other negative side of working more online, right? We have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have so many things at our hands that can take us out of the focus that we need to work on and make us less productive during the day. And so one thing that I do is I use the Pomodoro method, block 25 minutes, focus on something, a task, and then take 5 minutes break. That really works for me. You can Google it. It's a really simple method on personal level. on team level, what we use is the OKR, the objective key results, really helping the team based on our organization objectives and key results to align and say, okay, these are the activities that we work on team level or individual level to contribute to make sure that we keep moving and growing our business or keeping our business alive, because that's really essential during this time of uncertainty. So one question before we end: how do you stay focused during the COVID-19? So any other ways that I didn't mention so far? Anyone likes to share how you stay focused during COVID-19?
Ranco?
Yeah.
It's like it's every day you do your early rituals, and then if you have uniforms, you wear your uniform, and then it's like going to work, no? And then I have this to really focus, because I have another group apart from Katuwang. I have another group that I tend to. I call it my Ohana hour, because this group is Ohana. I call it Ohana hour. So whatever I do for the day in my to-do list for Ohana, I would do it. And then another hour is for my other group. So I call it another group hour. So I could also focus with that. It helps me focus. And then after 90 minutes of work, I take a 15-minute break, so that I could survive the next 90 minutes with 15-minute breaks. That's how I get focused. And so far, it's been working for me, because they tend to respond when you get to focus on some things to do. The recipients, or the one receiving your memo, the one receiving your request, respond gradually. They would learn also that you are predictable. At this time you are doing this, at this time he is doing this. So predictability. So that's how I get focused.
Thank you, Rafi, for sharing. I really think also that, like you mentioned, that predictability, but also clarity for people is really helpful in the time of COVID-19. And me and the owner were discussing of Ekipa, should we include more people in the discussion, for example, of not continuing with the probation people, the 3. And we decided just to take this by ourselves, because in a time of crisis, people need clarity. They need just directions. And although we really believe in self-organization and empower the group of people, we still believe also that in this crisis mode, there needs to be clarity on where we go and what we need from each other, and what we expect from people as well. Jackie, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So I know we're getting close to our wrap-up time. So you had some really good points there, and it actually drives one question. I know we have 2 questions on the Slido so far. So if anyone would like to link to that, we'll raise those questions shortly. But I think you just hit the nail on the head when you said clarity is so essential. There's a book that many of you have probably heard of called Switch. So how to change things when change is really hard. And the authors, 2 brothers, Chip Heath and Dan Heath, identify 3 surprises. And they say, 1, what looks like resistance to change is often a lack of clarity. And 2nd, what looks like laziness is often exhaustion or burnout, possibly under COVID. And 3rd, what looks like a people problem is often a situation problem. So Ranco, how would you say that you can actually get people aligned for the sake of being in solidarity together and also building their resilience within a business?
So what we have learned over the time. So to give you a little bit background, Ekipa, we don't have office and we don't have bosses. So that's quite a unique concept in a culture that really is hierarchical and really traditional in operating the business. So the owner is Dutch, I'm Dutch. So they asked me to take the role of Chief Operation Officer, just to make sure that the teams are happy and overcoming some of the challenges. One thing that we learned over the time, so we don't have offices, so people work on client side or work from home, and now we're all working from home, is that we set out, okay, this is what we need for this quarter, for example, and we allow the teams and the individuals to make their own plan, to set their own objective and key results, how they want to contribute to this organizational objective and key results. And I think to empower and to give the people the responsibility and the ownership of the items that they want to work on and the creativity is really helping people to fly. So we didn't tell people, okay, now you have to develop an online course. No, people saw that we need more sales and we need to pivot our existing way of doing the business. And they came up and said, hey, let's do this. Without any pressure from the owner or from me. It was just a collaboration with the whole team and say, hey, okay, I will make a curriculum, the other one make a flyer. So we all put people in their strength, in the areas that they feel their expertise are at the best. And I think that is some of the ingredients that works really well for us. So we don't have bosses, we give them ownership, we empower them to do whatever they need to do to help us to run the business to keep floating.
That's great. So I know, again, we're wrapping up on time. I'm going to ask one question that was on Slido, and then I'm going to ask Martin to unmute after that, and he can ask his second question and see if you can answer both of them combined. So the first question for Slido had to do with the trust. So from your perspective, do you give a person 100% trust at the beginning? And then if they make mistakes or, offend you in different ways or don't deliver on their expectations, do you reduce that trust, or is it vice versa? Someone has to build up their trust as a team member of yours over time. And then Martin, why don't you go ahead and unmute and ask your question, which was really great as well.
Sure, Jackie. Thank you, Ranco. Really wonderful presentation, very insightful. So to your third strategy, you talked about working with the end in mind, staying focused. And just curious about, okay, so how do you define the end? We're living in such uncertain times, ground is shifting constantly, mostly beyond our control. It's government policy. So what is this end? How far out are you planning?
So at the beginning of COVID-19, just to give you, so we had our quarterly plan ready, and we always work in 3 months planning cycles, and we decided to move into 2 weeks and say, okay, we don't know what will happen, so we take smaller steps. So there can be 2 to 4 weeks. That works for us really well, because then we know, okay, this is where we're working towards, and taking small steps and be able to react on new developments. So the end in mind for us was, okay, for how much cash do we need, how much revenue do we need to pay the bills, for example, and what kind of activities can we develop in the next 2 to 4 weeks to make that happen? How many clients do we still have, and how can we keep them, and how can we grow them? How many potential clients do we have, and how can we reach out to them to maybe offer some free sessions? Does that answer your question, Martin?
It does, Ranco. Thank you so much. Yeah, really helpful. Thanks.
And Jackie, to go back to trust. So one thing that I think trust is something that people over time, the owner and I, we have a simple rule that people, we have proved that people, we cannot trust in terms of fraud or something like that. All the other things is more the acknowledgement and transparency of making mistakes and allowing to make them mistakes and say, okay, sorry, didn't work out, or sorry, I did something, but it was maybe not really positive effect. We allow people just to make mistakes and learn from them. I think if people stop learning from the mistakes, then the trust comes in as an issue. But if we allow people to experiment, to innovate, and for example, in our case, if they're not on the client side, they can pick up anything within their interest that helps us to develop our business. So if someone is really interested in marketing, they can go into that, or in sales, or in whatever they think that helps us to develop, maybe in going more deep in material development or operational stuff, finance. It could be anything. that helps us. And we let people to do that on a free base. So we trust people that if they're not on client side, that they will pick up stuff to help us to develop the business. We don't tell them, okay, this is what you need to do because we pay you every month.
Great. Good answers. We have so much to think about after an hour with you. So I just want to thank everyone for coming. Ranco, keep the slides on. In fact, you can go ahead to the next one as we wrap up. So just want to give everyone an FYI. We are going to take a break next week and then be joined in 2 weeks on June 18th with our guest panelist, Joseph C. The topic will be business resiliency mindset for COVID-19 and the new normal. So we'll join the same time of the week, Thursday, 4 p.m. Singapore time, 3 p.m. Jakarta, 2:30 for Myanmar, and whatever other time you're calling in from. But Joseph has an amazing story, and I'm really excited to have him on our panel. He is the CEO of Agape Connecting People, which is a BPO call center based in the Shanji prison within Singapore. Just an incredible story that I've watched grow over the years. Now the company is employing over 500 men and women currently in prison or those that have been released from prison and can continue in this type of dignified work. What's incredible is that the Singaporean government, under the COVID crisis, has recently contracted them to be the call center for people dialing in for counseling, dealing with COVID within Singapore. So just an incredible way that they've been pivoting and they're building their own business resiliency. And next slide, on June 25th, we'll actually be joined by Tommy Tiptujaya of Green Hope. He's the co-founder and CEO. Very committed to being a steward of the environment through the production of biodegradable alternative plastics. He's so incredibly innovative, entrepreneurial, and in this sphere, his intent is to reshape the entire plastic industry. Already proving successful, sending his products, the plastics, into many different international companies using his plastic bags. But his goal is not just to be a social enterprise, but to actually shift consumer behavior by making this product line increasingly competitive, both in quality and price. So Tommy will be joining us on the 25th, and we would love for all of you to join us as well. Lastly, I want to just invite you on the next slide. We will have, like I said, this optional 15-minute extent, what we call the backstage. So we get to meet with rock star Ranco backstage for an optional informal time for feedback. And for those of you who would like to log off, why don't we just all thank Ranco right now? And then we'll give about 60 seconds for anyone that wants to depart, log off, and then the backstage time will start in about 60 seconds. So thank you. Join me in thanking Ranco for all of his insights, especially on remote teams. Thank you, Ranco.
Thank you, Ranco.
Thank you, Ranco. Thank you, Ranco.
Thank you guys for joining.
Thanks, appreciate it, Ranco. Good presentation. Thanks.
Thank you, Ranco. Thank you.
Thanks, Ranco.
For
Bye.
those of you logging off, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Otherwise, in the next minute. All right.
So we have the backstage crowd, just informal chat, and if you have any other question or maybe feedback on the series that Partner Worldwide is doing, I thought this is so this is a concept that I learned from a group design thinkers from the Netherlands, and they have I think now this is week 10. Every week they had a session, and they did 1 hour session with a topic, and then they did the backstage just to have a chit chat, connect with people informally, because normally we have 1 hour. We're quite functional, right? We want to get the cover topic and share the knowledge, and that's it, and then people check out. So I thought this is a good way just to get to know some of you, and if you have any question or suggestion, please go ahead.
Yeah, feel free to unmute. I will actually ask a specific question to get the conversation started. So we would actually love your feedback about the series so far. So for those of you attending, I know Fong, you've been here every time. Jack, you've attended every single time. Quite a few of you. what value has this series brought to you so far, especially running your own business or organization? Could you elaborate and just share what value you've seen so far, as well as any recommendations you would have on topics to cover or different ways that we should be engaging people during this type of webinar?
For me, the first two is really helpful as well. Initially, I actually just attend because I feel like I have nothing to do anyway. So I just might as well be there since I know Jackie and Ellie. So that's my actually first impression when you invited me. And then when I see people really talk, they are really someone that really knows the topic. So it gives me insight, it gives me other perspectives. So for the first two and also especially this one by Ranco. And this one is actually basically for the team itself. So that's why I actually invited my whole team. But in a way, I don't impose these things to my team. It's up to them if they want to go or not. Unfortunately, nothing was here. But
Jack, it's recorded, so you can share the video later, right, Jackie?
Yes, correct. Because actually, what I'm doing with them is basically part of it is what you have discussed, Franco. So that's why I just want them to hear it also from other speaker, because I'm pretty much sure what I'm doing with them is basically what you are saying. So I'm giving them trust, I'm giving them connectivity. So that's why I really want actually this talk to be heard by them as well, so that they see where am I coming. So because somehow I'm really relaxed with them. I'm really relaxed with the whole team. Even before the ECQ, I already discussed with them, what do you want to do? Shall we work 4 days or shall we work from home? But I only ask those things, but I already have a decision. We will work from home. I just want to know what their answers are, because not everyone is comfortable working with home anyway. So that's why when they said, oh, let's work from home, then I told them, okay, so what do you have in your home? Can your laptop do it? Do you have good workstation set? That's why on the comments, workstation set for me is very, very important. So what I did, okay, let's take all the table and chairs here and all your workstation, put it in your house.
Wow.
So that's why the office is empty, basically empty.
So you can cancel the rent.
Yes, that's why I was thinking. Now I'm discussing with them. I am talking with them because our office will expire in October. So shall we continue it or not? So I'm asking for their feedback, because somehow the core team that I have, basically we can work from home. But of course, not everyone can do it.
So what is the big challenge you have with your team going into this?
My big challenge is just the information, because I'm working on building projects. I'm working projects in New York, in South Africa. My only challenge is I need to protect this information. That's my only challenge. So I fully trust my designers, but my only worry is we need to make sure that this information will not go outside. That's why I also ask them to bring the computers, because those computers are somehow I can protect in a way. So, and then I move our servers online, so everything is online. So we managed to set up that in just a few days. So that's why, okay, we're on. So that's why I'm just asking them, do you have internet connection? And one of the guy, I don't have internet connection at home. Okay, you bring this Wi-Fi. Make sure you are connected. So he's the one that I lend my Wi-Fi router or something. So for me, my biggest worry is just the sensitivity of the documents. So that's why when they decide to work from home, they need to sign a non-disclosure agreement just to cover me on that side, and just to let them feel that this is really one of my biggest concerns. And I am entrusting this to you. So if you violate anything of this, I have this. You sign this, because I will be liable on my client anyway. So that's why I'm telling them, you will be liable to me if anything of this So yeah, so that's my biggest challenge. So for me, yeah, we can do it actually just by working from home,
Okay, cool.
but not for everyone. So with my core team now, I can. But once I start to hire new team, so it depends because they have different character, or I still don't know their personality in a way.
Oh, that's interesting. So, so for example, we have new people joining our team and they get lost sometimes. So even in the interview, they ask, okay, Ranco, where do we meet for the interview? I said, just we have a WhatsApp call or a Zoom. So where's the office? I said, we don't have an office. So that's, sometimes I know in the beginning already, okay, this will be a hard fit. But even people that acknowledge, say, oh yeah, working from home is fine. Since we don't have a job desk, sometimes they get lost. They love the freedom, but they love also a little bit clarity. And that's the only clarity that we give them, is help us to run the business as best as you can. So it can be making flyers or whatever you're good at, just help us out. And that's sometimes so much freedom that people get lost. We had guys joining and they, after 2 months, they left because they say, yeah, you never told me what to do. I don't know where to start.
Yeah, correct. But I like people that is proactive. So that's why on the first 2 weeks, I actually told them, because they also not familiar with working from home. So the first 2 weeks, I told them, okay, when do we start working? Shall we start 9 a.m.? Shall we start 8 a.m.? So they said 9 a.m. Okay, so let's start 9 a.m. So every 9 a.m. we should say good morning in our chat group, because we have a chat group. So we're using Google system. So just say hi there, just to keep our focus that, okay, it's time to work, right? So if they're really working, I'm really not concerned about it. So I'm just trying to get them into this habit that 9 a.m. should be the start of our work. So I start to say good morning by 9 a.m. And then the first week I started to do video calls like this, but they don't have webcams. So that's why once I was able to buy webcams and good mics, I send it to their house. Okay, we have webcams now. I want to see your face because I want to see if you're stressed. Because we have deadlines, so they know if I'm stressed when they see my face. Because
You are
in our team,
stressed. You can be
yeah,
stressed.
yeah.
You look really relaxed.
He's so chill.
Yeah, but once we have deadlines, they will knew it. My tones will change, and also I would like to see their expression as well, because actually most of them are actually overworked. I'm really surprised with this COVID. We are actually overworked.
Wow.
That's why I'm the one that needs to tell them, oh, we need to stop. It's Friday. Don't message me or email me on Saturday and Sunday. I need you to rest, and then I need you to be in full energy on Monday. So that's why if I have question on Monday, you can answer it. So
Because that's a really big pitfall for a lot of clients that we have that have one back-to-back meetings online. So I just had this morning Bible study group call, and one of them said, yeah, at 9 o'clock until 7 at night, only meetings. I said, that is not healthy.
yeah, that is not healthy. In the first week, I actually told them, okay, we should have a meeting every morning, just a short meeting, 10 minutes. But I'm actually just testing them, who will follow or not. And then since I know that they are following, I actually didn't do it. The next week, I just meet them on the webcam once a week.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm just testing who will follow or not, and also because some is not really proactive, so I started to say to do this. Okay, put your daily works. What will you? So for example, they will say good morning 9 a.m. and then we have this Google Forms as well. That what are you doing today?
Oh, that's good.
But I'm actually not looking at it.
Yeah.
So
You're
I'm
not
just
micromanaging. You're just
I'm not micromanaging. It will just take a lot of my time,
giving
but I'm
the
just
framework.
putting those kind of things just to make them realize that we still need to work. We still need to make this move forward on this. So I'm just trying to give them some focus in a way. So that's my focus strategy over there. And I'm actually really surprised. We've managed to deliver our works for the past 2 months, and it's really stressful in a way because of the schedule. But that's why now we finished all of those, so we're actually just relaxed. So now they just ask me, what should I do? So they're the one asking me, what should I do? Because we have nothing to do anyway.
What's the next project? Yeah.
Yeah, but I already asked them, you have a goal, because last year I asked you, what do you want to learn on 2020? So every time they have nothing to do, then you need to study now until I have something for you to do. So it's up to them if they will study it or not. But they know that I will ask them. So what's happening there?
What book are you reading? Jack,
Yeah.
you brought up a really good point about communication. And I always try to think about this because I can be a person, not so much in the workplace, but just in normal everyday life, it's very easy to misinterpret text messages or emails. So the 3 V's that I keep in mind, and one of the reasons I think it's good it's amazing that you got your employees the webcam, so you can see their facial features when they're expressing something, but the 3 V's, so vocal, visual, and verbal. So vocal is the tone of voice. You really need to be able to hear the tone of voice. Even on a phone call, you can do that. But the visual enhances it all the more. Like you can see their facial expressions on a webcam. And then the verbal, you have more chance to actually elaborate and explain what you're trying to say versus a text message, which can be really convenient at the appropriate time, but often not on really important decisions or situations. So it's really good insights that you've been working on.
And actually, I'm experimenting a lot, even on this COVID-19, because
you're really a sociologist.
Yeah, and I'm actually also testing them, because for my team, I really want to build leaders there. My goal is to do nothing. So that's my goal.
Early retirement.
We're in the same boat.
Yeah, that's always my goal. So every time, that's why I train you until you become better than me, so that I have nothing to do. So that's my goal. And then even up to now, I'm actually still giving them that kind of leadership. And imagine, these guys are 3 years experience in my field. Basically, they are not that experienced. But I'm teaching them how to coordinate, how to communicate with the clients, how to present. I'm challenging them. Can you do presentation? Like for example, now I'm doing webinars as well for engineering. And then I'm asking my team as well, how about you guys? Anyone would like to do a webinar? Anything that you know that you're comfortable talking or discussing with others, just let me know. We're gonna do it. So I'm giving them that kind of training in a way, because I'm allowed, just like Ranco said, I'm allowing actually them to have mistakes.
But the interesting question, Jack, are they challenging you? Because I think if you have a good balance in your team, they should also challenge you as a leader, right? And push you a little bit, maybe out of your comfort zone.
I always told them I'm not the smartest person in the room. Tell me if I am wrong. Because we are designers, so we are actually designers. I can give input like, this is what I think works better. So I want them to challenge me on that if they have a better design. So even though they are less experienced, that I know it, but I'm challenging them to challenge me. Ask me, why am I telling you to do this rather than what you think? So I'm very open on that, because for me, I just want them to become better than me. That's my really goal. So, and I'm building quite 2 or 3 people now there. So if they continue with that kind of attitude, most likely, I can leave it to them in the next 3 years.
Amazing. Awesome. I just answered Rafi's question. He asked, what is the name of the book? So it's called Switch, How to Change Things When Change is Hard. I just put it in the chat box there. So Fong and Rafi, do you have any insights on ways we could improve this webinar, or things that you've seen come out of it that were valuable for you? The experience, time of day, that's also, big picture, little details. share what you have on your mind.
The time is, yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Fawn.
When I first joined, I wasn't sure what to expect. I mainly joined, Jack invited me, so I thought, oh, maybe I can learn something. Let's just see. And I was pleasantly surprised at how much I could get from it, actually, because the speakers are very knowledgeable and very experienced. So when they're talking about it, they really know what they're talking about. Especially last week when I think it was Spencer Chan, when he talked about the need for the higher quality and value for money. It's even more important during this pandemic time. And also the people who will survive it best are the ones who can adapt. And I've seen that already in my work. I'm not an entrepreneur in that I have my own company, like not an incorporated company. I work for 2 different firms, and I'm also freelance with legal work and translation interpretation. So I only have subcontractors when I get a big project in that I need help with. So I've had several people who have the good skills that I've been helping them develop over the years, and that I will go to them when I need help with a project. But during the pandemic time, there's not been big projects like that where I need to hire people to help me. But I've kept in contact with them, and also the work that I do get, I see the need to keep delivering the quality and not just get lazy about it and think that they're always going to come to me. But this time more than ever, they need to see that I can still deliver no matter what the situation is. And the communication with the clients is so important. So I can tell, oh, we had an unexpected holiday, or because of the curfew, this or that is going to be a little bit late. So to keep up that good communication. And I've gotten a lot of good ideas and examples of how to communicate and how to adjust my whole thinking about work during times like this. So I have really enjoyed all 3 of the webinars so far, and I have gotten things that I can use from it. The time is fine for me. My schedule is quite flexible during this time, especially Thursdays. I can usually work from home, so I'm home at this time. Today I did have to go to the office in the morning, but I finished the meeting and then came back. So far the time is fine.
Where are you
Thank
located?
you so much.
I am in Bangkok, Ranco.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so
thank
I'm
you,
1
Fawn.
hour behind Philippines.
Okay, so same as
time in
Jakarta.
Indonesia. Yeah, in Jakarta.
Yeah. Rafi, you had unmuted. Do you have anything to share?
Yeah, the time is good. Usually we start the day from 10 to 3. So it's my rest. When I get to rest, take my coffee, we have this time to spend together with the partners worldwide. And feedback, I have, apart from Katuwang, I have other endeavors. And we have an agency, an insurance agency, with church leadership and other small businesses around. And when this pandemic started, I was really shocked on how to move on. I had to read books. I had to call friends, and this gathering sponsored by you guys told me that I'm not alone, and and so it's a good time. I look forward to it. I never missed a session ever since we started. So I'm just quiet on the side, lurking and listening. So the timing is good. The timing is good. The learnings are great. It's actually refreshing time for me every Thursday afternoon.
Oh, that's amazing.
With you guys.
Thank you so much for those words. Rafi, I have to ask you, do you have any strong suggested topics that would not only be beneficial for you, but maybe even other entrepreneurs within Katawang, or even your management team from your own businesses?
Yeah.
Any suggestions?
Actually, you just showed it earlier. Resiliency. You know, the word that strikes me right now: how to be resilient during this time. One thing I'm doing now is engaging my children to join me with whatever I do in the business, because they're home. They're not in school, so they're trying to learn the ropes of what I am doing for them. You know, so resiliency, starting with my family, and next week I will invite my children to also view from here. By the way, I'm Rafi Catalan from the Philippines. I'm a BA with our project here locally. Thank you, guys.
So much, Rafi. Yeah, I hope other team members and maybe even your family members can join on June 18th. Joseph C. is a very powerful speaker, very insightful. So I think everyone should hear his story and insight. So yeah, I hope more people can join from Katawang.
Yes. Okay.
Good. All right, any other feedback? We have 1 minute left. I think we'll wrap up at 5:30 because we promised 5:15. So
Eli.
Ellie, any thoughts or questions?
I think one thing, it was so good that, when Ranco asked about, your first question, what is essential for a work from home team? And actually, simultaneously, my wife, who is not with me in the other room, and myself, we actually answered the same thing.
Wow.
Which is a clear output. So if there is clear output that is expected from your teammates at work, there should be no challenges in relation to monitoring or asking questions. You're measured by your outputs.
Yeah. That's what I do with my kids as well. So they have to do 3 hours online. And I can see from here if they do 3 hours online learning.
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Hi.
Yeah, and Martin raised a very good question. Although clear outputs can be so helpful, which I absolutely see the need for it as well. What happens when the output keeps changing? When the external environment is influencing that so much. I think it's the shorter the planning, the better. Right, Ranco?
Yeah, or just accept and say, okay, let's work on, for example, a cycle of 2 weeks on something that a stakeholder or internal idea is coming up. Give people at least time to finish it, and then give it back to the stakeholder clients and say, hey, this is what we built. Is this what you're looking for? Or do we need to make adjustments? Or do you have maybe new insights or new requirements that is needed for helping you to solve a problem?
Yeah,
I think short iterations and incremental building is really key.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, wise words to end with. So thank you again, Ranco, for joining us today. I hope we can have you on for more sessions in the future.
Thank you, Ranco. Thanks, guys.
And your guitar was missing today, so we'll have to have that actual rock concert next time. It's not hanging on the wall behind you.
No, I just changed it a little bit.
Oh, okay. Switch things up. Well, thank you again, Jack, Fong, Brother Rafi. So good to see you today.
Pleased to meet you, Fong Chan. I think we're friends now at Facebook. So,
yes,
but Jack, when are we going back to Coron, Jack?
I would like to go back.
Yeah, that's right. No.
As soon as the airport opens up,
yeah,
we'll be flying out.
Yep.
All right. Well, take care, everybody.
Thank you,
okay,
everyone.
bye-bye.
Thank you.
God bless everyone.
God bless.
Bye-bye.